Yo, 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 we are live. I didn't
Hi,
put it
y'all.
I didn't put a notification out until I would have loved to start putting them out like 2 or 3 days ahead of time, at least, so that they'll get a notification if they're a subscriber, they'll get a notification on their phone if it's turned on, and it'll say, Folly Forward podcast will be going live so and so day at this time. So, it's all stuff we'll get worked out, but how's it going? You're in Florida.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful weather here, even though it's super windy. It's just nice to be. I'm in a tank top and shorts today. I'm like, yes, it feels like spring,
What's the
almost
temperature?
summer. I think it's like low 70, maybe like high 60s. Yesterday, it was colder. Like it was only like 65 or 66, but
Colder, that's so funny. Yeah, I think it's
I mean, colder for here.
yeah, I think it's like upper 50s today. But it's not snowing. Some of the girls in my accountability group, they're like snow. They're getting post some photos of like blizzards and shit. I'm like, "Oh, no, thank you. I'll be
Yes, I was
happy
just
with
gonna
50
say,
degrees."
thank you for me not being there.
So catch everybody up, tell everybody what you're doing. You're in your van. You're in Jacksonville, right?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
in Jacksonville visiting some family for the next couple of days, actually until tomorrow. I've been here for the last couple of days, and I will be headed to Sandlot Jacks. It's this outdoor festival sponsored by Go Ruck, which is a company that sells weighted vests and backpacks that you can put weights in. And they have different races and events where you ruck.
I've done that before. It's challenging. I liked it.
Yeah, so it's a weekend. It's the first ever. I heard about it a couple months ago, and I thought, oh, it looks like fun. I'll sign up and check it out. So
You said there's going to be music and food and all
yeah,
beer?
it's a festival. So I'll be camping out there at the festival. It'll be my first van life festival will actually be this summer, but it'll be my first little fitness festival in the van, and we'll check and see what it's going to be like. There's going to be some live music tomorrow night, and then a bunch of events. So tons of different rucking events, and there's an obstacle course and a bunch of speakers.
And you've got a friend coming that you're picking up at the airport. That's
yes,
fun.
One of my girlfriends from Virginia Beach is going to join me for the weekend.
That's so awesome. Yeah. So believe it or not, I'll be at your place just in a few weeks.
I know. I'm so excited.
I know. I'm very excited. It seems like I'm one of those that like you travel and then, some people can come back and they could take 6-8 months and then they start getting an itch. I get an itch like after I've been home for a few weeks. I'm like, and I get why my mom does what she does, with her national transporting, because she'll go home and she'll power up and then she's like starts getting that itch and she's like, I gotta hit the road. She would have been actually they did have a Volkswagen van when I was a kid.
Oh, nice.
And they did do some cruising and stuff, but
a Vanagon.
I think I forget it was yellow. I do remember that. I know.
Was it like a Westphalia type of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of, but cooler.
Yeah, cool.
Because I was just probably 2, I wouldn't want to say when they got it. So it would have been 77. Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. I don't have any memory of it, but I think my mom probably, if she would have been up in a different time, she would have done the van life thing. I could totally see her doing that.
Yeah.
Me on the other I like to have a place to come and be, and just like take my shower and relax and go through my routine. I'm sure I could get used to it because just like I was telling the guys when we recorded on Monday, like when I first walked into this place I'm in right now, and I think I've mentioned this before, I was like, this place is so fucking small. And then, once I got in and got my stuff in it and set it up good, I was like, oh, okay, I really don't need, you know what I'm saying? I think we all think we need more than we do.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, and I would be completely content. If let's say I owned a place that this was this size, I would be completely content with it if it had a big yard and, places I can explore outside, big, huge porches on the front and the back, because outside, I love being outside. That's my thing. Yeah. And you can just you can just sit up, pull a chair out and sit outside the van. The world is your porch.
I know. I'm excited to explore more of the United States this summer. It's been nice being in Jacksonville because I have a place to park here, but I have figured out some places that other van lifers could park if they didn't have a driveway to park in. There's a bunch of free places to park around here.
Like
So
where?
in downtown Jacksonville that I've seen some bands actually parked there, but it's not like I'm going to go knock on their door because I've been walking every morning. I walk down to the Riverwalk and then I head to the gym. The closest gym that I've found is the YWCA. So it's just quick and easy. It's not ideal setup in terms of what I'm used to in a gym, but
It's not a sexy gym.
well, it's not even that. It's just they only have one of everything, and I'm spoiled. That's all it is. My gym back in Virginia Beach
It's
has
so
like
nice, y'all. I've been to her gym.
6 of everything, so you never have to worry about if somebody's sitting there for 20 minutes playing on their phone.
Got 5 or 6
everything.
pieces of eye candy to look at. It's got 5. I mean, that was like for me being on that treadmill. I mean, no, what did I get on? Did I get on the stairmill?
The Stairmaster or the elliptical?
I got on the stairmill. Or I don't remember. No, I think I did both. I did the stairmill and the elliptical, but it was like looking out among this field of beautiful people, men, women. I was like,
you're not lying. I mean, there's so many beautiful people there. There are so many women that are walking around in these cute little shorts and sports bras, things that I would never wear to the gym.
Say what you will about.
And I'm like inspired by them. I'm like, holy smokes, look at how in shape they are. Wow. They have really been dedicating a lot of time, and not only in the gym, but like nutrition to get to this point. So
it is inspiring. Actually, you've inspired
me
to start doing weights, like and figure out how to incorporate that without going and joining a gym, which I've kind of been contemplating doing that too, just to be out and about around people, but then I wonder, like, I was a member of a gym here literally for 15 years. And I mean, am I going to really socialize with anybody? No, I'm not. You know what I mean? I never did when I worked at a gym. I worked at 3 different gyms in this town. I was always anti, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to go in and do my movement and be done with it. So, but I do need to incorporate a way to go ahead, jump up. Marabella's like looking up at the top of the bed.
So I think I kind of view going to the gym as the way I do when it comes to running. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not somebody that enjoys running anymore, but if I enter a race and I know there's going to be people running around me, I'm like more motivated, like, all right, I'm going to do this thing. It's awesome. And then I always feel better after I'm done with the race, right? It's the same for me going to the gym. I really enjoy lifting, but I don't talk to anybody. I have my headphones in the whole time. I barely notice anybody. I'm in the zone. And I'm doing my own thing, but it's because there's other people around me working out at the same time. It's almost more motivating in a sense.
It totally is.
But I am in the process of trying to figure out how to use some of the dumbbells and other things that I have. I have some kettlebells, dumbbells. I'm going to incorporate some workouts on the road because I'm going to have to this summer. And so I've been in the process of figuring some things out. So I'll show you when you get here of workouts that you could do. Maybe we could even incorporate that into a podcast episode.
Oh, that would be awesome. Well, there's so many people online. I mean, I've done HIIT workouts. Literally, hello, we're not home right now. We're recording a podcast. It's okay.
It's not my house, so I can't do it.
That's what happens when you go live. She's at her daughter's grandparents' house staying, and they've got a landline in 2022.
I know.
That's old people still love having landlines. Even though they've got multiple cell phones between them and tablets and all sorts of other shit. We still need a landline. How are the fire department going to find us? But yeah, I just put something on YouTube. If I want to do there's a plethora of free that I was so grateful for, especially during lockdown, even though the campus was open and I could still go there, I still was inspired to like try different things. And it's everything you need is on YouTube. Or there's people on TikTok or Instagram that are showing fantastic workouts. So rubbing elbows with you has inspired me to do more than just what I do at the school, which is using my body weight. So I want to start incorporating some weights and like some, like you said, some kettlebells and however I go about doing that. There's a gym here, but I would have to go do a walkthrough and see. I'm kind of like you. I'm a little spoiled by the gyms I've been a member of.
And I have a good routine because I've been lifting for so many years. Like I know what to do on the days that I'm going to work chest or back or legs. And so it's a little bit out of the norm for me to think about just doing body weight or just some 10-pound, 15-pound dumbbells. Like for me, I'm like, what? Like today I did chest press and it was like 85 pounds. Yeah. So like, that's more of my normal thing. And, so it's shifting the perspective of like, what is the workout going to be moving forward? And I'm okay with that. I will be okay with that.
Yeah, well, I do, and you'll probably experience some fun. I mean, who knows? You might end up joining a gym that you can go, because I know there's a few different gyms you can join. You can just go anywhere in the United States.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's Planet Fitness, and then there's like Anytime Fitness or something like that I know that are all over the United States. But I think I'm gonna, and to not even, I want to become less reliant on the gym to get my workout in. I mean, I'll be hiking, so I'll be getting cardio, but for me, I just really enjoy lifting and feeling strong. And I think that's part of, because I have this background, it's part of the reason why I was able to pull myself out of that underwater tomb that I almost drowned in. Like I really, I know I say that so casually, but I really do feel like, because I have had the level of fitness for so many years that I'm at, that I don't know a lot of people could have done what I did, which was really pulling myself up and out multiple times and getting knocked back down before I was successfully able to do it. So
yeah, and for those of you who don't know, she was out playing in the water at her home city of Virginia Beach and got sucked into like she worded it, an underwater tomb of barnacles, and
I was in between a bunch of boulders and I couldn't get out.
I mean, I can't even imagine. And
it's a long story, but
we'll get into it another time. But yeah, she pulled herself out, and she came out with, just obviously life lessons. You can't go through something like that without experiencing all the feelings that are associated with it, and then scars and all those things. But yeah, I mean, God bless. What if you didn't have that body strength to pull
I really
yourself
don't think I could have. I mean, I don't know that most people could have fought as hard as I did to get out of that multiple times, for minutes, to, almost drowning. So, that's part of what keeps me wanting to maintain some sort of physical strength, but also it's just something that I've done for so many years that it's just part of who I am. I really love lifting weights and feeling strong. It's not about looking a certain size or having a certain body
but it does help when your body looks amazing.
I know, but I'm not like trying to get like less than 10% body fat. I mean, hey, that'd be nice, but this is not going to happen given my dietary choices at times. I like to go to a brewery sometime, or I like to have a cookie, or currently, yesterday I got some chocolate malta balls, like, hey, I didn't just have one, I had like a handful, so I'm not going to like deny some of the things that I like, as long as, for me, it's just, I love being physically active.
Yeah, that's me. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, Your Mom's House with Christina P and Tom Cigar. It's hilarious. And she was, I don't know if it was that one or she's got another one, Where My Mom's At, which is geared towards
Where My Mom's At.
it's such a fucking good podcast. If for those of you who don't know who Christina P is and you're a female on this planet,
I was going to say, I don't know who that is.
She's amazing. You know who Tom Cigar is?
Yes, but I don't know who Christina P is.
It's his wife, and she's a stand-up comedian, and she has been for a very long time, and they've got their own podcast. She's got a side podcast that she does by herself, but she was talking about that yesterday, and I thought, oh my God, this will have to be a part of our gummy bear experience when I come visit you and we do our Folly Forward After Dark, which you guys need to be a part of that. And anyway, they were talking about going on dating websites and how it grosses them out. It says, I'm active. I need an active partner. And they were going, ugh. And I was cracking me up because if I were to do a dating profile, it would say that.
Literally, that's every dating profile I've ever actually written. I normally only add pictures and just wait for someone to talk to me. But if I ever write something, I'm like, I live a healthy, active lifestyle and want somebody who does the same, basically.
That's why I was laughing my ass off, because I'm like, if me and Alicia had a dating app, profile right now, it would say that top of the thing.
I know.
Anyway, so let's get into it today. I was inspired by just looking through some old pictures and creating TikToks and stuff about, actually, I was going to say, does our childhood mold us into who we are? But duh, it absolutely does. But I mean, very briefly for, 15, 20 minutes, I just want to talk about how much of Folly Beach molded you, good or bad, into who you are. Because I know there's so many things I took from the beach that stuck with me. Terrible, being bullied by certain people that I won't name names because they probably could see this. I know a few of these people who were assholes to me follow me on Facebook. I'm like, why do you keep friend requesting me? I keep deleting you. And then 30 days later, I get another friend request from you. Like, why? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. But that time on Folly Beach had such a big impact on me. And I figured it did for you as well, but less about the familial experiences and more about running the streets, you know, and just that freedom and the run-ins we had with people and the characters that we met that lived on the beach. You know, there's so many of them. So you go first. Like, how did growing
I
up
think
on Folly affect
how
you?
about we talk about, like, we could go, like, I can talk about some good things and you talk about some good things, and then we could talk about bad
Perfect.
things. And, yeah, or which one? You want to start with bad so we can end on good?
Yeah, that's perfect. That sounds great.
So some of the bad things I would say that would have happened while growing up on Folly Beach really stem from getting put in situations that pretty much I put myself in because I had all that freedom. So, you know, it is a positive that I had all this freedom as a kid to roam around this little tiny island and do whatever I wanted, as long as I was home when the lights came on. But the bad part about that is having these run-ins with certain people that I was so naive and young, didn't really know that I was possibly putting myself in a harmful, potentially dangerous situation. And, you know, we lived, what was it, like 3 or 4 houses away from the corner market. It was called Bert and Jerry's at the time. It's now
Chris and
called
Jerry's.
Chris and Jerry's. Yeah, you're right. And it's now called Bert's Market. But I remember just riding bikes and walking down there and hanging out, and there's always like older men around, and we could have easily been preyed upon and taken advantage of. So many times I look at that, I'm like, I guess the negative aspect of having so much freedom is that I was so naive and trusting men that they weren't going to harm me. And I don't know.
You didn't even think about it.
Yeah, it never dawned on me. And here I was running around in my bathing suit thinking it's no big deal. And, you know.
Oh, my God. You remember when we played volleyball? We'd be in our bikinis, bent over, waiting to, you know, hit the ball innocently. And we've got a group of dudes behind us, like not even thinking that we're 14-year-old pieces of ass. You know, how do you prepare for that? You can't.
Yeah, I think it was such an innocent time to grow up, because now everybody is like overly protective. Like I would never have let my daughter do what I did when I was young, but I didn't, not that I did anything wrong. It's just that we had the freedom to roam around and have all these bump into random strangers who happened to be visiting Folly Beach. They were on their family vacation. Oh, you want to hang out tonight? Sure, let's go roam the streets on our bicycles or walk the beach and hang out,
or sneak out of the house at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, where were the cops? Were there any cops on Folly Beach at the time?
They were sleeping, you know, probably because they weren't expecting anything bad to happen. So I do think I don't want to say it was bad that we had all of that freedom, because I'm grateful. It definitely molded me in good ways. But I know personally that I ended up, because of that, not having any expectations of what men could really do to you, that I had some negative experiences later in life, thinking that everybody has good intentions. Like, I'm just naive, like, oh, this guy isn't going to hurt me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't know why I did either, because at that point I'd already been around so much. By the time I made it to Folly Beach, I'd seen so much shit that it's like it flashes in front of me. It's like watching a freaking Quentin Tarantino movie. I mean, I shit you not. Like I've walked in on to people doing lines of cocaine. I've heard shit. I've seen shit, and there's just a level of beautiful naivety that kids have, right? Even if they have experienced shit, you just don't. And I think now it's probably changing because everything is so in their face. You know, everybody's so paranoid, and really times have not changed. There's still just as much crazy shit going on. There was just as much crazy shit going on 1940s, 50s, 60s as there is now. It's just the only thing is everybody talks about it. The secret's out. You know what I mean? With all of these documentaries and awarenesses. I just saw a thing showed up on one of these streaming devices that I watched about Hillsong United. and about the controversy of they're a massive mega church. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, it's just a fucking matter of time before something came out about that church. You know what I mean? It's like, there's just this, I think, naive belief that it's shocking when something bad happens. And I think that that's probably a good thing about the human condition, that if we walked around expecting bad all the time, I'm sure some people do, but overall, I think we wouldn't be able to survive that. But for me, remembering, like, I can think back and say, okay, yeah, I remember being a piece of meat to a grown ass man when I was a 13-year-old girl, because my tits started popping out when I was probably 10. I can't remember exactly when I started my period. I remember the scenario around it because it was something straight out of an 80s movie. I was at the Delta in California. We had taken the motorhome up from Los Angeles to a vacation spot where my aunt and uncle and their kids go every year. And we had taken the motorhome. So it's me, my aunts, my mom wasn't there, and my cousins, and we all piled in the motorhome. We were swinging into the grocery store to get all the shit for our cabins. And I started my period. And I couldn't have been in a worse scenario having an aunt on either side, both of them beautifully loudmouthed. It was like price check on aisle 3, like what kind of, and I'm standing, can you imagine me at like 10, 11, 12, however old I was. I want to say I was like 10 or 11 with these two at a grocery store. They've each got a different type of pad. And there was a literal price check on something we had. And that's me at the cash register starting my period. And so anyway, I started my period young. It was a whole, that was something straight out of an 80s movie. I'm not even kidding. It's such a vivid memory of mine. I survived it though. So I started, my body started getting curvy at a young age. And so for me, I remember thinking back, getting attention, even if it was just them staring at me. And I remember it making me uncomfortable. I remember vividly being, even still, Alicia, if I'm being honest with you, for example, my motorcycle. I know that me being a woman on a motorcycle is going to be I'm going to grab people's attention. Me having big boobs and being an attractive female on a motorcycle, it hinders me at times. There's a fear that wells up in me when I'm about to take the motorcycle out because I know that there's going to be eyes on me and that makes me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And I know that seems weird because I'm so in the public eye and I'm constantly on social media and things like that. But it's not on my terms. In other words, when I show up on social media or here, it's on my terms. Mm-hmm. When I'm out on the motorcycle or I'm out at the school and I'm a truckload of dudes come by to go to one of the classes in the back of the campus, I feel myself getting anxious. And I know that that's definitely rooted in what I experienced on Folly Beach. And just those moments where we were being ogled. Mm-hmm. And how do you respond to that as a young girl when an adult is doing something like that to you and making you feel uncomfortable? We never were communicated to about that shit from our parents. Plus they're an adult. So, at that time, I mean, very quickly later, I was very much in people's faces if I felt uncomfortable, but it just, you don't say anything. You don't stand up for yourself. And so that has carried with me throughout my entire life. And I still carry that today as I sit here with you right now. If I was going to get dressed to go on the motorcycle, I would have anxiety, and it's not anything related to my driving abilities on the motorcycle or any of that. It's just me being, in other words, if I'm going to go ride by myself, there's a whole load of anxiety as opposed to if I was going to go ride with friends. Because I would feel safe in a pack. And I'm not scared to go out into the world by myself, but there's something about being on that motorcycle. And I don't know if you experienced it because I know you solo rode too. Did you ever experience that when you were on a motorcycle? Just the fact that people are going to be looking at you because you're attractive and you're on a bike? And
no, and honestly, I didn't have the motorcycle for very long. It was one of those things that after Pete died, he loved his motorcycle so much and I never understood it.
Yeah,
I could not understand. So after he died, then I started my life over in Virginia Beach. I went and got my motorcycle license and bought a motorcycle so that I could understand why he loved it so much. And I did love it. It was a lot of fun, but I also recognized how dangerous it was, especially in Virginia Beach, where there isn't really like a lot of land, a lot of open spaces where you can ride.
And you had a crotch rocket, right?
I had a BMW 650 GS, so it was
nice.
It sat up a little bit higher, but it wasn't like a Harley. I ended up meeting somebody and dating this person who also had one. So the two of us would ride together, but after that relationship ended, it was just me and the motorcycle, and I felt uncomfortable. So that's the uncomfortable part. I was like, I'm not just going to ride around by myself like this. And besides, it had fulfilled my curiosity of why I needed to know why Pete needed to ride this motorcycle all the time, because it was such a big part of his life and I never understood it. And I did. I understood that adrenaline rush, how much fun it is to like be behind the wheel and lean over and lean into the curves and feel the wind on your face and just like be one up with your bike, which I can have a similar experience. It's not the same on a bicycle or a paddleboard where I'm out there feeling the elements and being in control of whatever it is I'm on. So I sold it. Because I didn't have it for too long, just because, again, I didn't have anyone to ride with, because I felt I was not this person that was just going to go ride somewhere and go hang out at a biker bar. That was just never going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, if I'm riding with a group of people, that's one thing. I mean, that's part of it. You're going to stop and have it. I don't like to drink and drive on a motorcycle at all. Not even a sip of a drink, just because I feel like I've not been riding long enough to have that kind of autopilot feeling that you have in a car. Like a car, you could have a cocktail and get in your car and you're fine, but on a motorcycle, like one little maneuver and you're splat, or you've done something ridiculous. So for me, I'm not going to let that fear keep me from riding. I love to ride and I still will go, but it's just that awareness kind of pisses me off. Like, it's like, how would I, or even could I work through that? I've kind of just eased into it and accepted that that's a part of what I carry over from my childhood. That's just that experience of really realizing at a young age that you're a piece of meat, and that thankfully, at that time on Folly Beach, all the freedom we have, I can't remember anything scarier happening other than almost getting kidnapped when I was coming back from Kelly's house. Do you remember Kelly lived down towards the washout?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I had a 10 speed and I was riding my bike back from her place. And a van started following me, and it's actually happened a couple times. And I was driving back because I lived on 4th block. So you have quite a big distance. I'd say for you guys who've never been to the beach or aren't familiar with the beach, I'd say, I don't know, not even a mile, but somewhere in that range, half a mile, something like that, from her house to my house. And so I was on the main road. I was on East Ashley going home to 4th block, and the van started slowly I'm on a bike and I'm a kid. So how fast could I be pedaling? And it's literally following right behind me like something straight out of a fucking movie, a dirty white van, the sliding door, typical rape van. So I took a right and I went down to Cooper, which is the next street over. And I just basically started taking different roads to see if it was following me. And sure enough, it did follow me, and it was scared. I was so scared that what I ultimately ended up doing is riding the bike up into somebody's yard. I dropped the bike and ran to one of my girlfriend's house down the road. And I ultimately had to go back and get the bike and everything, but I was so scared. Like, I mean, what kind of a close call is that? What are the odds that something could have happened to me if I didn't have some kind of street smarts? I would have been kidnapped, and I think that there were so many opportunities where we could have thankfully we had each other, but I felt more insecure being on the beach when I was by myself, because we're targets. Yeah. And at that time there wasn't a bunch of tourism, but there was still a lot of people traveling to Folly Beach. Not as much as now. But so, I mean, those memories, I think they stick with you.
I chuckled a little. Well, that was scary for you.
No, it's fun. I mean, it is funny.
I'm glad you got away.
Yeah, I mean,
I chuckled only because here I am driving around in a white van with a sliding door. And you called it a typical rape van. I'm like, oh my God, I hope nobody thinks that of my van as I'm driving around.
No, you don't have, that's a van again life. Like you don't have.
I know, but it's a white van that's not marked in any way with a sliding door. So
no, you know what I'm saying. I won't
be following anybody slowly who's riding a bicycle.
At least put some
But
happy stickers on the back of it.
side note, I forgot to tell you, I bought one of these foldable e-bikes. I'm super excited about.
Nice. I
I
knew you
got
were
it.
in the market for one.
Yes, I was trying to find one. I didn't want a foldable, but it's really the best for a van life. And I found one that has fat tires. It goes super fast, so it's going to fulfill that. We're going back to the motorcycle thing. It'll fulfill that fun, like, woo! I get to go 20 miles an hour down the road.
Oh, that's so
And it's
awesome.
got this fun little bike seat that I had found. So my requirement was I had to have at least 20 inches of clearance in between the handlebars and the seat post for this little. It's basically like a perch, but it's a seat where Blue is going to sit on. And I got her these little goggles, so I cannot wait to take some pictures.
Well,
and
I know
share this
she's
later.
kind of doesn't love the bike
I know.
basket. So how's this going to work? You going
So
25
this
miles an hour?
Well, she's going to be in between me and the handlebars. So I feel like this is my hope, and I'm manifesting this, that I'm going to be on, holding onto the handlebars, and she's riding in between me. So if I had to, I could like pet her, but she's not going to be way above me in the basket.
Right.
She's in between me and the handlebars, and she's facing the same way. So I'm
Well,
hoping
did you see that TikTok I posted of the guy in the crotch?
Yes.
Hat?
I was like, oh my God, now I just have to find a little tiny helmet for her.
I mean, all things are possible. She'll get used to it. You know what I mean?
She's going to get used to it. I'm super excited because some of these festivals that I plan on going to this summer, and it's one of those pedal assist bikes, so I can ride it like a bicycle, which I probably will most of the time. Yeah. Honestly, even with just like, I think there's 7 gears, even with level 1, it's like, whoa, it's not something I'm not even used to.
You want a hilarious visual. So the last time I went to California, I went out to Newport, and I always get a room, and I will go rent an e-bike, and I will just have the e-bike for like 12 hours. And so I went and got the e-bike, and then we're in Newport, it's right next to Huntington Beach. And so there's a lot, I usually will go back and forth between Huntington, Newport, and Balboa Island, and just kind of go back and forth all day. And I didn't want to use the electric part of the bike because I wanted the movement, you know how we are. Yeah. So I did my best the majority of the day just to pedal and enjoy myself. And it was an awesome bike. And then I realized, oh my God, I only have like an hour left before I have to turn the bike in. I was full throttle all over, like back and forth, just because I wanted to get the e-bike experience in. It was so much fun, and I was kicking myself. I'm like, well, Harmony, why do you have to be so fucking stubborn? You're on vacation. Who cares in the long run if you're pedaling? I should have been using the e-bike the entire time, but I was zigzagging all over and back, like in neighborhoods. It was so much fun. So that's something down the road I definitely want to invest in getting one of those for sure.
Yeah,
I couldn't use it here, but
yeah.
So, okay, let's get back into it. The bad. So we've talked about the bad shit that we've carried over.
Can you think of anything else that's bad? I mean,
a million things, but I think for me, what I've carried forward is the most important part. And I think that's kind of what I wanted to touch on today, is how shit that happens just when we're young, like being bullied. I remember being bullied by a lot of the kids, in school at that time, and on Folly Beach, just trying to have some kind of a hierarchy. And I remember who they were very vividly. I remember the kind of power struggle between all of us. And that was it's something that's going to happen. That's what happens with kids. Yeah. It's happened a million years ago. It's going to happen a million years from now. But I think for me, is the things that stood out for me the most is being sexualized at a young age. As far as the bad side, being sexualized at a young age, and just probably that's it. I mean, and that's a big one. I say that's it. Like that's just speaks to my trauma, my levels of trauma that I've experienced. But being sexualized at a young age was and has been and is really hard for me, because I want to feel like I'm worth something more than my tits and my ass. And I think that for my entire life, that's all that I've been. And not to say people didn't value me and don't value me for other parts of who I am, but as far as how I've perceived it and how my experience has been in meeting people of the opposite sex, it's been rooted in my sexuality. And that just is in alignment with what I learned about myself at a young age. So I wish I didn't feel that way, but all I can do is understand it and move through it with what I know now. So that's my big thing. And my big negative from Folly is just, the being sexualized.
I think the other part, if I'm thinking about one other aspect that would be negative, is the normalization of alcohol and drug use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it wasn't just that, because we talked about our home life in a previous episode, but so, we had it at home. It was normalized that people just drink all the time, like it's no big deal as soon as they get home from work until the time they go to sleep, and every single day, and it's no big deal. But even at I think about all the different cool festivals and stuff that Folly used to have. And what were people doing? Drinking in the streets and hanging out. Like it was normal for everyone to go to the Sand Dollar every single weekend and drink their dollar buds. And, so that normalization, that excessive amounts of alcohol was okay.
I mean, did you know anybody who didn't drink? I didn't.
I can't think of anybody.
Like
any adult.
Yeah, that's
any adult. Yeah.
All of Kelly's parents owned the marina, so I know that, everybody was kind of all partying. I don't remember any parents being like, okay, I just got home from work, I'm going to go for a run, or I'm going to go to the gym. Like, what?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know. I'll be like, who's Jim? So I don't, you know what I mean?
We didn't even have a gym on Folly.
Is there one now?
No, I don't. I don't think so.
I didn't even think about that. Everything from the time I was a super young, even California, like everybody I knew was drinking.
Yeah,
my dad's side,
so
my mom's side.
I think that's something that probably people may not recognize if that was in their childhood, because I know, like, I didn't grow up thinking there was anything wrong with it, because, like you said, did we know one single person that didn't? I can't think of a one.
And what's interesting is, this is another interesting point about why we didn't, it was just part of our life, but there was so much negativity in association with alcohol. It's not like they were just having a couple cocktails or a couple glasses of wine with their dinner. It was like a clusterfuck all the time. There was always drama going on in relation to alcohol. And I still didn't correlate anything negative about it. It just was what it was. Right. So I didn't even think, isn't that funny? Like, I didn't even look at that as a bad. It just goes to show you how ingrained it is in my brain.
Yeah. Well, again, it's in hindsight that I recognize that probably wasn't a healthy thing. But at the time, like you said, and I have both said, it was normal. Like, that was just the way of life.
Yeah. And that, I definitely ran with that one my entire life. Alcohol, like, it's interesting though, my relation is very rapidly changing with alcohol, because I rescheduled my week. And so I thought, I'll swing by after my run. I'll swing by the liquor store. I got a couple mini bottles of whiskey, and I didn't even have a drink last night. Like, I got home and I put them in my junk drawer upstairs with all my candy and stuff. I bought 4 mini bottles, and I was like, I don't even want them. It's just it's a natural reaction. Oh, I've got a day off tomorrow. I'm going to just be doing this and that. I'll have a couple drinks tonight, but I don't, the desire is never going to fully go away. Like, if me and you were together, of course, socializing, I'm going to meet my girlfriend for brunch this Sunday. So yes, we will have a couple cocktails, but I don't know. I can feel, as I do more of the groundwork on myself and have, like, really challenged what my relationships are with everything, food and all the things, that whatever I'm doing is working. I'm proud to say one of the goals I have for me right now moving forward is to not fall asleep with the TV on, because I've been doing that since I was knee high to a grasshopper. And for the last 2 nights, I've actually turned my TV off. And I really like it.
Did you struggle to go to sleep when you turned it off?
Well, here's the caveat of that, is that no TV unless it's something that's grounded in growth. So the night before, I went to sleep with a adult bedtime story, and not adult like XXX, because
I was going to say that could be perceived a couple different ways.
Just in it, which that would be fine too. That's a story for another time. That's an after hours.
That's our after hours.
But something like a sleep meditation or something. So last night, I'm very interested in lucid dreaming and astral projection. It's something that I've always really wanted to experience, and I know a little bit about it, but not as much as I want to. So I put on YouTube astral meditation and lucid dreaming meditation, sleep meditation, that I think it played for like 4 hours. And So that play, and it was weird. I'll save that conversation for another time, because what
Okay.
came up for me in the time that I was falling asleep was the coolest experience. And then I fell asleep. I woke up to pee at some point and turned the TV off and was sleeping in complete darkness. And from staying here, I've got lights everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was nice. It was nice. But anyway, I'm just kind of revamping my relationship with everything as I get older. And I feel like that I'm on pace with what I should be doing as far as finally becoming an adult and unbecoming the parts of my youth and the years that I was growing up. Like, I'm unbecoming the shit that doesn't serve me now, that I've just carried. And that's kind of where I was getting with this topic is, I think that we grow up in a certain lifestyle and around a certain culture and around certain people that we don't know until somebody tells us or inspires us to do so, that we don't have to be that forever. Like, it's just, you can rethink your identity anytime you want, but that doesn't occur to you until you see somebody else doing it, right?
Yeah. Or
So,
it doesn't occur to you until that one of these identities that you have embraced or really have devoted a lot of your time to breaks you in some way when that identity shifts. It's something I've been writing about in my book.
I
Yeah.
love that teaser. Yeah, like it backfires on you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. I love it. I'm so intrigued. I can't wait to read it. Hopefully I get to be one of the first people to read it.
Of course.
Yeah, interestingly, and I think that's such a beautiful way to put it, Alicia, seriously, is who I was before was backfiring all over the fucking place. My relationship how I look at relationships with the opposite sex. Like, I've never in my life been scared about love, and I want to embrace it. But you know me, I've been a serial monogamous. There hasn't been a time since I was 13 years old dating Kenneth Luther on James Island that I haven't been in a freaking relationship. I've been in a relationship, boom, boom, boom. It was like I was hopping from one pebble to the next. I never had any time. I didn't want to be by myself. I was super codependent. And so what hasn't been until now, 46 years, that I'm actually like, no, thank you. I'll interact, I'll flirt, if that opportunity were to arise, I don't go anywhere where I could do that, but I don't have any desire to be on a dating website. I don't have any, and it's not that I don't want to meet somebody. I think that there's this part of me that can so easily attach to a romantic partner. And then I start not like morphing into who they are, but I kind of lose myself in that love because I'm such a giver that there's a part of me now that I've become so grounded in who I am that I'm scared that if I attach to somebody else that I'm going to lose that autonomy. And this is the first time for that. So you're getting to experience it for the first time since you've known me. Have you ever known me to be single this long?
No. And I think it's good. I think one of the things you've realized is you made so many compromises of who you are and what it is you want over the years. You're not willing to do that anymore. And it's awesome that you're setting those healthy boundaries for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty proud of myself. I gotta be honest.
You should be.
It's not been easy, but it doesn't feel forced. You know what I mean? And so that's unbecoming my belief systems that I learned about love and relationships as a child. I never had any example of a solid relationship ever in my life. My mom and my dad never got married. They split up, and left one another when I was like 3, between the ages of 3 and 4. My grandparents were together, but all I ever saw was them fighting a lot of the times. I mean, I did have fleeting moments. They loved each other very much, and they were together for 50 plus years before he passed away. But he was a drinker. He was a fun drunk. And she would get irritated by it. And then they'd, God damn it, Ken. If I have dime for every time I've heard her say, God damn it, Ken. So they would fight. And so that wasn't a good example of love. That was, him being a jovial drunk and trying to make her laugh and her telling him to fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, that's not. And then, just seeing my mom do her best to try and be attached and have full productive love, and that backfiring until she met my stepdad. But I didn't have an example of what love was. And so that is another negative, that my childhood Yeah. I mean, like me not having an example of what love and romance is and how to do that. So, yeah, I mean, gosh, we're at 45 minutes already. So, unless you've got another bad to contribute, do you want to hop into the good and leave people with a good message
Yeah,
for
let's
today?
hop
Okay,
let's hop into the good.
let's do it.
I think the biggest, if I think of one big thing that has been ingrained in me as since a child, is that ability to embrace freedom and
Mhm.
explore the world. It's something that I love doing, but I also, it's like I require it. I need it because at such a young age, I was able to just leave my house, go for a walk, go build a fort in the rocks, go play in the woods, go ride my bike and explore the other side of the island that I really wasn't supposed to be on, but I
Mhm.
did it anyway. And meet new people. And we met people that would come into Folly Beach, our tiny little town. At the time, nobody really ever went to it. They would go to Kiowa or Isle of Palms or
The
Sullivan's
uppity
Island.
beaches. That's what we used to call
Yeah.
the uppity beach,
But
bougie.
like some people would somehow find their ways to Folly Beach, and we'd meet them and get to know new people and hear about what it was like growing up in Iowa or something ridiculous. Like we're like, Iowa, what? How'd you find Folly Beach?
What's Iowa?
So I think that sense of adventure and desire for me to travel and explore and embrace new people and check out new places and learn new cultures and eat new foods and all that stuff that is basically what drives me all the time, was ingrained at such an early age growing up on Folly, and having that ability to have the freedom to go and do all those things. Partially it's because of my family life, and my parents were gone, and plus they were in their own little world, so I could kind of come
Mm,
and go and do what I wanted. But it was also that we grew up in a time where we weren't scared to go try those things.
right.
We grew up in a tiny little town where, even though we didn't think that people knew what we were doing, if we were riding on the other side of the island, that we weren't really supposed to be. And that's only because my parents, when I say not supposed to be, it's not like we were doing anything wrong. It's just my parents were like, oh, just stay on this side of Center Street on the east side where I lived versus the west side, because that was so far away. And there was a lot of undeveloped area at the time, which was great when you wanted to ride your bike and explore in the woods and stuff. But that means
Or
your
be
parent.
pulled behind a car on a boogie board in snow.
I know, that was a fun experience. So, that's the biggest positive I have. And it's really what drives me from such an early age to being an adult now, making the choices to go, put all my stuff in storage and go live in a van and travel around the United States for a while, because I just love exploring and having freedom to do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. And check out new places. There's so much to see just in the United States. And,
Yeah, I
both
know.
of us have had that opportunity to travel overseas, which I'm so grateful for. I have had that, but I haven't really seen a lot of the United States because our country is so big.
It's massive. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I mean, as far as there's so much good that came out of it. One being my uber independence
yes,
and
yes.
just my ability to not be scared of new situations. There's no situation, there's no group of people, there's no scenario that I can think of that makes me scared. And even if I am scared, I can work through that, and understand that fear and excitement are the exact same thing. It's really about how you perceive that, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And the kind of the mantra you're telling yourself about that. But I don't have any problem I can walk into a group of a bunch of wealthy people and be completely fine and content and, comfortable with who I am. And I can walk into the deepest, darkest dive biker bar and feel completely at home as well. So it's like when you get to experience all the different facets that the world and the human condition has to offer, that's one thing that came from Folly Beach, like us being able to run the beach. And I can't remember how many hours I have spent in front of the Sand Dollar while my mom was in there having her dollar, whatever she was drinking, probably Dollar Bud, or Michelob. I'd say she's probably drinking a Michelob. Just sitting out in front of the Sand Dollar, 5 years old, learning how to play pickup jacks with Wolfman Jack. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Um, I just like, I guess I'd been put in so many scenarios, and when you are able to experience life in a very vivid way, good and bad, you kind of get that understanding that you're going to be okay, I guess. So that's one thing that I really am thankful for the childhood experiences that we had is just not having fear of going into any circumstance, not
Mhm.
having a fear of talking to anybody, you know?
Yeah, I think it fostered such a sense of confidence and independence in both of us that we have both carried up with us for the rest of our lives. And I'm the same way. Like I am not embarrassed or scared. I mean, I would lie. I would be lying if I said there wasn't a tiny bit of, feelings of like, oh my gosh, I don't know anyone or whatever, like a
Yeah.
tiniest bit. But that's never stopped me. I will go anywhere to talk to anybody at any point in time because I know that like what's the worst that's going to happen? I might go in there and feel slightly uncomfortable and I might not be like everybody else. I might not fit into this scenario of people, but hey, that's okay. I'm still going to figure out what it is I want to do. I'll have a good conversation with someone and I might be like, all right, well, this isn't the scene I want to be in.
Oh my
But
God,
hey,
what a good conversation for one of our episodes upcoming is just like, what is fear? Because people say
yeah.
all the time, I'm scared of this, or they have a knowing that they're scared of. Some people, the thought of going on a job interview petrifies them. Like I couldn't
Mhm.
imagine that. So, like I've had so many when I was bartending for all those years, I would have girls that were say, servers or something there, and I would have always wanted to bartend. This I'm like, well, why come back here? Work with me for a little bit. Just you serve the next few people that come up. And they're like, oh my God, no way. I couldn't. There's no way. And I'm like, thinking, like, why? Or what are you so scared about? And it really is all rooted in what you're going to look like to the outside world. I mean,
Yeah.
if you simplify it down to that, and what it immediately equates to, you give a shit what other people think about you. And that's really hard
But
to
it's also
undo.
a confidence thing. I think it's like, do you have confidence in your ability to try something new? Or do you have
Hmm.
confidence in your ability to be able to talk to somebody, even though you don't know? Like, do you have all of the background on how to be a bartender? Like in that situation? No, but can you like talk to somebody and say, hey, like, be honest, this is my first time, but let me make you that drink. Bear with me for a
Uh,
minute while I fumble
man.
around. And
Yes, girlfriend. That's exactly what I told these girls because when I first started my very first bartending job was at Marker 24 in Folly Beach.
Mhm.
And me and Pete had just moved back there. We walked in to have a cocktail. It was a Tuesday night. I'll never forget it. We had just moved back from Goose Creek and he wanted to live out at the beach. You remember Pete, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And we're sitting at the bar and it was Daryl, you remember who used to own Marker 24. He used to
Mhm.
run the streets with us when we were kids, a little bit older than us. And we were sitting there shooting the shit on a Tuesday afternoon. I said, I've always wanted to learn how to bartend. And he was like, really? And I said, yeah. I said, it's been something I've always wanted to do. And he said, well, I've got a band coming in. Worm Belly was the band. He said they're coming into play on Saturday, and Kelly O'Rourke was a bartender there at the time. So we got to work together for a while. That was really fun. And he said, we need some help. So show up here Saturday night. And I showed up that Saturday, and I'd worked in food and beverage off and on for years, but I'd never bartended. And I was like, all right. So I showed up and that's what I did for months. People would come in and they would ask for a drink that I hadn't made. Cause mostly it was Jack and Coke, screwdrivers,
Yeah.
crack me open a beer, give me a shot of tequila, whatever. But there would be people that would come in from out of town that would want something that an old fashioned. What the fuck is that? So I did exactly what you said. I would say, hey guys, I'm new. Like, please teach me. Instead of trying to pretend like I knew what the fuck I was doing and look like an asshole, I just would
Yeah.
be honest and say, and I think that would be a good topic for a podcast is to be honest about what your abilities are, and you won't put
Yeah.
yourself in a scenario where you look like a dickhead. You know what I mean?
Well, that's just like exactly what you just said. Like it's better to be honest about your abilities and your experience level than it's that fake it till you make it mentality.
Hmm.
Because fake it till you make it, you're going to look like you don't know what you're doing. Like it's better
Yeah,
just to be like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Bear with me. This is my first time, but I'm going to make you the best drink I possibly can. And guess what? You come back next week, it'll be even better.
exactly.
Like things like that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we've come up with some good shit today, and we're already at 54 minutes. I've got to hit the road. Alicia's got to hit the road. She's got lots of adventures to be on, which she'll be posting on the Folly Girls Instagram, which is scrolling right down below. So please go give that a follow. Thank you, by the way, for posting such killer content on the Folly Girls podcast Instagram
Yeah.
page. I love it. I love watching what you're doing. So yeah, I've got to hit the road. She's got to hit the road. We didn't have any viewers today, but I know people will be watching the replay. So you guys be sure to, if you know anybody that grew up on Folly Beach or in Charleston or whatever, wants to know a little bit about some fun stories, growth, all that shit, just trying to do life successfully, please pass this YouTube channel onto them. Go give us a follow. What else did I want to say? I guess that's it. We'll schedule when we're going to be back, and we'll make sure to put it in StreamYard a few days ahead of time so you guys can come and be here with us live. We are at a weird time. It's a Wednesday, in the middle of the day. So most normal people are at work.
True. It's like 1:30 too.
I know. So anyway, I'm going to hit the road. Alicia, I love you much, and stay on. I'm going to hit end broadcast. We'll shoot the shit for a minute. You guys have a wonderful week, and me and Alicia will see you soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.